Yes, my friends, welcome back. International break is finally over, but I do have to say this. I still haven't healed during the international period because I'm still very livid at that last minute goal we conceded to Sims against Everton. You know, in that performance against Everton, most of the things we did good. And I still feel like we deserve to get 3 points from that game. But the thing that has been the story of our season is the fact that the way we end games, our control in the second half, it keeps biting us in the arse time and time again. But you guys know I'm an eternal optimist, and I'm hoping that with the positive international period where a lot of our guys had great form for their national teams. You know, I'm looking at Enzo's banger against Argentina, Pulisic's great performances for the States, Benjuo, etc. And I'm hoping that our players come back with more positivity and hopefully come back to turn things around against Aston Villa tomorrow. Now, before I continue on with the rest of this match preview, I do have one very important announcement to get out of the way first. Now, before I continue on, I want to start off by saying that for myself, I'm very much about equality and fairness. I'm about equality when it comes to religion, when it comes to race, and when it comes to sex as well too. But I think if there's one thing that's currently happening in football right now, something that's like slowly simmering behind the scenes now, is this growing rise of homophobia and homophobic insults. You tend to see quite a lot of this online, and stats from a survey actually show that around 40% of people, nearly half of people, believe that social media exacerbates the issues of homophobia. At this point in time, homophobia is the #1 form of abuse that's currently happening in football, and naturally, anytime there's inequality, work and actions have to be done, of course, to help fight against it. The latest Hope United squad is dedicated to tackling online abuse and homophobia in football. Hope United wants to encourage more allyship, and that's regardless of sexual orientation or backgrounds, and it's all about encouraging you and encouraging me to be these allies to help fight against this type of issue. The reality is that intolerance makes a lot of us quite uncomfortable, and stats show that almost 3/4 of Brits, around 71%, believe that homophobia is actually a problem. And for me, it's very simple. Action is the most important thing right now. The stats are showing that for many people, 4 in 5 people are very uncomfortable hearing homophobic hate, but around 63% of these people actually won't call out any forms of abuse if they hear it in their vicinity. So I think this initiative from Hope United and is a good first step to try and encourage more people like you, me, and everyone to, use our voices and use our actions to help fight against any type of inequalities. And I think it's a good first step. So for anyone that is, very passionate about this, feels deeply about this, wants to inform themselves, you'll find the link below in the description and in the top comment too. We come back from the international period still stuck in 10th place. We are still 11 points off the top from a potential top 4 finish, but we have one game in hand. And I have to say this, I think it's quite fitting and symbolic that we're actually playing against Aston Villa tomorrow, because both clubs are stuck on the same amount of points, and both clubs have had a 4-game unbeaten run, 3 wins and 1 draw. So tomorrow is a real strong test now, because I have to see us at least slowly climbing up this Premier League table. Now, being the football nerd you guys know I am, let's examine some of the stats behind our recent form. We're currently ranked 10th in the table for points taken after a lead. Only 1 loss, which isn't too bad, but we've picked up 5 draws, with most of these draws coming because we concede last minute goals from the 80th minute onwards. And if you guys look at this stat now, as you can see, most of our games are decided in the second half. We're rarely picking up wins in the second half, and most times the opposition team we're playing against is scoring their goals in that period. Like this season, we've picked up 6 home wins in 13 games, and I feel like it's about time now that we can make Stamford Bridge a fortress, because if we have any hopes of securing anything positive before the season ends, at least making Stamford Bridge like a formidable place for teams to come to is something we have to get working right now. Now, one thing I am praying to see in tomorrow's game is a sense of some control now against Aston Villa, because when we play games for like 60% of the game, we do the right thing, but we cost ourselves in the remaining 40% of the game. Now, historically against Aston Villa, they've picked up 2 wins against us in the past 11 encounters. So Aston Villa tends to be a club that we do get points against. But if you guys want to give me some hope and faith for the possibilities for the month of April, if I can see us have a sense of better control of the game against Aston Villa, that can make me feel a bit more hopeful. So my friends, in today's match preview, I want to break down the press conference. I want to go through team news. Obviously, I'm going to give my predicted lineup and I'll give my prediction at the end as well too. So I hope you guys enjoy today's video. Let's be positive. You guys know that I'm superstitious. I want to try and get 2k likes for today's video. Hit that like button if you think we're going to come back and get 3 points against Aston Villa. Without wasting any more time, now let's start things off with team news. And as we know, Thiago Silva and Azpilicueta are still out and won't be in contention at all. When it comes to Raheem Sterling, he has been training recently, but Potter revealed today that, he has a better chance of playing against Liverpool on Tuesday, so don't expect him to play in tomorrow's game. Mount is also training. Potter said that he isn't ready to start, but he could get some minutes and could be available in the squad tomorrow. Now, some annoying news is the fact that Fofana is out. Of course, we know that he left the French national team squad to come back to Cobham. Let's hope that he comes back fully fit and ready, because we need this guy against Real Madrid. And we learned that both Kai Havertz and Pulisic both came back from the international period with colds. It seems like Pulisic might be out because his cold is more severe, but Havertz should be in contention to start in tomorrow's game. And positive news around N'Golo Kante and Reece James. It seems like Kante should be getting some minutes at least against Villa tomorrow, and Reece James should be in contention to start because he has featured in the past 2 training sessions after leaving the England camp early. So we should expect to see a pretty strong lineup, and I guess right now is a perfect time now to discuss the key talking points from Potter's press conference today. Let's discuss the 3 important points, and we start with Anthony Barry. Now, it's nice to get some clarification behind the story. As we know, Barry isn't part of the squad or training sessions, as we are currently negotiating with Bayern Munich over a compensation fee. Graham Potter gave his opinions on this, and we know that Potter's a very humanist type of guy. He feels that maybe Barry should get the move, but timing is the most important thing, because we have to prepare for the future. If we beat Real Madrid, we have a massive game against Bayern Munich in the semi-final, and does it make sense for Bayern Munich to capture Anthony Barry, who knows everything and all the inner workings behind Graham Potter and this squad at this point in time? It makes no sense. If Bayern Munich want him, they have to wait until the end of the season, in my opinion. But on a side note quickly, obviously Bayern Munich semi-final, we haven't even played Real Madrid yet, and Real Madrid are the current champions of Europe. But knowing how our club tends to work, the storylines and the movie moments in Europe, are we potentially setting ourselves up to play against Thomas Tuchel in the semi-final? That could be an absolute classic, and I'm really hoping that we can make this type of tie happen. So that's the latest news around Anthony Barry. Next up, we learned from Potter whether we can still get a top 6 finish and what's our hopes for the month of April. Obviously, as Potter said, at a club like us, you want to go in knowing the fact that you want to win every single game. That is the bare minimum for a club like us. So I'm not going to get gassed by comments like that. There is an interesting conversation right now. Do we climb up the table and potentially secure a Conference League position in Europe, or even a Europa League position? Or does it make sense for us maybe to sacrifice the season, focus entirely on Europe, and hopefully get Champions League qualification by winning the Champions League? I think that is by far the riskiest, hardest thing to do, but realistically, that is our best bet. Personally, I don't like when clubs strategize like that. Let's say hypothetically we did get a Conference League position. Yeah, in the moment, people are going to start bantering, they're not going to take it serious, but in the future, we're going to look back and let's say we secured the Conference League, the Europa League, and the Champions League, and to win that whole trifecta. That's history. And in the future, people would tweet that we've won every single trophy that Europe has to offer. So I'm not turning my nose up at the potential possibility of playing in the Conference League. But regardless, Potter has hopes for April, and he wants us to get wins versus Villa, versus Wolves, and against Liverpool as well too. So right now, that's the important stuff out of the way from the press conference. Let's now break down and discuss the predicted lineup against Aston Villa. Now, Kante, Mason Mount, Havertz, James are going to make the squad tomorrow, which is massive positive news. But I kind of think that this game is going to be about substitutions, because for most of these guys, they either can't play the full 90 minutes or they need to get at least like a good 20-50 minutes as a sub to build some sense of match fitness. That's the important thing here. It does seem like finally we could be seeing N'Golo Kante getting some form of minutes against Aston Villa, and my god, this is so important because in April we need N'Golo Kante. It really is that simple. And I'm praying and hoping that we've been preparing this guy time in advance to get ready for the serious crunch time of the season. I'm expecting us to continue to use a back 3 setup. I'd be very surprised if we use a back 4, but we do have more defensive injuries at this point in time. But regardless, as you guys can see on screen beside me, this is my predicted 11. MUDRYK on the left hand side, Felix playing as a false 9, Havertz on the right hand side, of course Ben, Cover, Enzo and Reece James, and in defence Cucurella, Koulibaly in the middle, Badiashile on the right hand side, and Kepa in goal as well too. Now, of course, when it comes to this lineup, I feel like MUDRYK should be starting tomorrow, no? And I say this because obviously Pulisic's come back from international break with some illness. How severe is this illness? We don't know. He could be touch and go. He has had decent form, but you're thinking to yourself, listen, MUDRYK still needs a lot of time, but moments like this, him getting like at least 60 minutes at least, is going to help boost towards his confidence and help him, of course, to acclimatise more to the Premier League. So I'm hoping that MUDRYK's going to be on the left, Felix playing false 9. And the difference is that I think when we're playing at home against teams where we feel we're going to have more possession, Felix playing as a false 9 against deep defensive blocks where he can find pockets of space, where he can like link up on the left hand side, create overloads, be that link between midfield and attack. That is really important. And I think it's no surprise that Kai Havertz in particular has been benefiting the most from Felix. Havertz doesn't tend to have goal scoring streaks for us. Hopefully he can continue to get on the score sheet by scoring against Aston Villa, and I would not be surprised because he's been one of the most impressive players for me last month. And another impressive player now that we move on to the wing backs and midfield has been Ben Chilwell too. I mean, his goals, his assists, that ability to play box to box down the left hand side, the creativity, the key passes he's making, the crossing quality too. It's really important to have Ben back in top form, especially during the month of April, and hopefully Reece James isn't too far behind now. Now, part of me was thinking, could Ruben start as a wing back so James can like get ready against Liverpool? Would that be the smart play? But personally, I feel like maybe James might play 60 minutes at least, and then Ruben comes on for the final 30 minutes. Cover and Enzo, they've been very nice playing together. I've got no complaints whatsoever, and it's great to see that Cover is now back in the form that we know he can produce. It's not as consistent as it should be, but I don't really care right now. It's important that it's at least back right now. He's going to be key for us. And now ending things in defence. Obviously Fofana being out, Silva being out, I've gone for Cucurella on the left hand side. He has to play there. I've gone for Koulibaly in the middle. And for me, Koulibaly is a lot better covering his defenders compared to being that proactive guy that's looking to leave his line and engage further up the field. Because when he does that, he gives away fouls, free kicks, he's out of position. I feel like that is the part of his game that hasn't really like acclimatized to the Premier League, and I think it's the safest thing to do by using him in that David Luiz role, playing in the middle of a back 3. And on the right hand side, I've gone for Badiashile, and the reason why I've done this is because at Monaco, he has played games on the right hand side. This is nothing new for him. And a part of me is also thinking that the fact that Aston Villa use inverted wingers, could it be like a bit of a smart play here to have Baddy on the right hand side with his left strong foot up against the strong right foot with the Villa winger? Like for me, that makes a bit of sense, and you know, I just can't see Koulibaly on the right hand side because it's too risky, especially against like the wingers of Aston Villa. And obviously Kepa in goal. Of course, international break was a bit of a different one, but it wasn't as bad as people said in my opinion, and some of the goals conceded weren't that bad either. So that's my predicted lineup. Share your lineup in the comments below and give your thoughts and opinions behind your lineup too. And now to end things, my friends, I'm going to give my prediction and I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. Now, as I said, you know, I can be like an eternal optimist, but I'm thinking that April is such a massive month that getting a win against Aston Villa can really just push us on even more right now. I know my predictions have been absolutely diabolical throughout this season, and I know that stats, form and reality suggests that we should expect a draw against Aston Villa tomorrow, but I just think that with the must-win important games we have in April, you know, we need to play to win. And I feel a bit optimistic that we can secure a home win against Aston Villa and take some confidence to that game against Liverpool. So I'm going for a 2-1 home win, and I'm hoping that with guys like Kante and Mount coming on as subs to help us secure the lead, that's going to give us more protection. And if it works, wow, I think big things can come in April. So my friends, that note, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. I'm the EFC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.